Okay, great. So I will start recording. Hello, everyone. Anina Mohabalan back for another episode of With Earth. And today I've got Honey C. Golden and Abby Wynn together. What a treat. Two of my favorite ladies, and I'm so happy to have them together. They recently spent some time together in Ireland. And welcome, Honey and Abby. How are you?
Thank you.
Thank you. We're good. We're excited to see each other and you.
Yeah.
Anina, thank you for inviting us.
I'm very excited to see you guys again. And today we're just going to chat about, a little bit of a pulse check on where we are in the ascension process and this unfolding of our consciousness and our spirituality and our understanding, and especially, those around us that have maybe not been as awake, where we see them currently. What are some of the things that we hear going on globally? So we'll just have a chat about anything and everything today with regards to current times. It's the 4th of July. Happy Independence Day, honey.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, honey, shall we start with you? What are you seeing on your side happening?
I'm seeing like a massive purge. So, betrayal and victimhood is really like on the table lately, but this is part of the purge that we have to do for Ascension, I think. And it's almost like cleaning house or moving from house to house. Like, what do you want to take with you? We don't want to take the baggage of the last several thousand years with us. So we have to process it, which hasn't been pretty. It's been hard on a lot of people, including me, but it's necessary and we need to do it. So I'm glad that it's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like cut the cords and move forward. We don't have to dwell in it necessarily, but we have to face it, recognize it, and then, leave it behind.
Exactly. But the universe
Abby,
is already. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Abby.
No, my phone just buzzed, which is interesting because what was coming up for me today is people looking for new relationships at the frequency that they're at, but they've had relationships that have broken up. So what I was actually doing was uploading an energy exercise to YouTube. So now I think I can turn it off, my phone, because it's uploaded. But that's what I'm seeing is I don't think people are quite ready yet, though, for those new relationships. So they know that they want them. And there's still a lot of work to do around the purge, like Honey said. Even when you think you've done it, there's more, and it will show itself to you, depending on how willing you are to do the work. I'll give you an example. 4:00 in the morning, was it on Sunday night, Monday morning? The bookshelf that has all of the books I've written just fell down in the living room with a big noise and woke everybody up in the house. And I woke up and I'm there, oh, there's no children crying, that's okay. And then I went back to sleep and I looked at the damage the next morning. All the books had just fallen off. So as a result of that, all the dust and all the crevices and cracks in the living room was now exposed. We pulled everything out, we cleaned it all up. This is the way the purge is working. It's the bookshelf falls down, the one that you thought was the most important one in the house, right? Because it has my books on it. So for me, that was a really important bookshelf. And then I had to go through all the old birthday cards that I had for years and the pictures my kids drew for me when they were little and go, oh, look at this. So in a way, it was lovely to see those things again. And what's really interesting, Honey, is Anastasia. Those books were on that shelf and they ended up in my hand. And I'm like, oh, I should read those again. And then I see your video with Mark on that today, which is talking about relationships and talking about synchronicities. So what's really interesting is that when you clean those dusty cracks and crevices and release the stuff you've been holding on and thought was important, but it's just sentimental, and you get rid of it, you throw it in the bin, the waiting time between you now and what you want to manifest, call into your life, like the partner, the loved one, or whatever it is you want to do, is reduced dramatically. So we're talking about instant manifestation. It's not so much instant, but it's the clearer that you are, the less of this weight that you're holding on to, the quicker the wait time. just something to show up in your life. And that's really a lot of stuff I'm seeing. It's really interesting. So
It's interesting that you say that. I heard something just today that kind of really resonated with me. Was saying that now is almost like the time to let go of the gray matter a little bit. It's kind of now ancient technology. So we have to now, we've got a much deeper understanding, you know, with our heart and our whole being, understanding things that, you know, it's like we no longer just one-dimensionally intellectually understand something. It's almost like as soon as you receive the knowledge, you have to kind of let it go. Then it's old. So done, great, got it, moving along. It's almost like you have to clear out the old now to make way for the new information to come through and the new understanding to come through. I don't know if that resonates with you guys.
Oh, totally does. And to use the brain as the analytical instrument that it was designed to be, as opposed to being the navigator. You know, and your heart is the navigator. And then your brain can look at all the flags on the path and, you know, remember and see how the dots are all joined together, but it's not telling you which way to go. Changes the trajectory of your life. I'll give you a wonderful example of this. And, you know, Honey and I were planning Honey's trip over to this side of the world. We knew we wanted to go to the UK to see Antonia and Anya. So we were looking as to where would be a good spot, you know, and so I picked an Airbnb that I thought would fit everybody and be great fun to stay there. And Honey booked it. And that was settled. We were going to stay in this Airbnb for a couple of nights. What happened since we made that plan was another friend of ours, Lisa, decided she was coming and there was a possibility she was going to bring a boyfriend. So suddenly the house became too small. So Antonia discovered that she was a member of a club that had a residence only 10 minutes away from the house that we had booked. So they could stay in their club, we could stay in our house, and we were still all together. Now, that came purely from intuition. There's no way your brain could figure something out like that. So it's about trusting the feelings that you get and figuring out what the story is afterwards. So I hope that makes sense, but it was just remarkable because we were all able to then go to Antonia's club, have dinner there and breakfast there because we didn't have that facility in the house. So everybody got everything they needed, which was just amazing.
Things always seem to work out the way it's supposed to. I'm finding my intuition really coming online so much lately. You know, from sort of, you know, I will think of someone and think, oh, I have to contact them because I have to follow up on something. And then I look at my phone and there's a message from them. I'm like, wow. And they kind of just answered my question already. So I've seen that a couple of times. It's just the veil seems to be much thinner. Maybe it's just me. I've got a lot of switching on to do. I mean, you guys have been working in the field now for a while, but I'm feeling like my sixth sense and intuition is really switching on now, have been over the last couple of weeks, and it's just fantastic to kind of just trust it and be in that flow. You know, something doesn't happen and you kind of push and you're trying to like force it and it's just not happening, and it's like, well, maybe it's not meant to happen. I'm just letting it go and see how it unfolds, and it ends up working out for the best.
So it does. Yeah. I have a friend who I gave a present to on Sunday because we went to a car show, and she said to me, "This is exactly what I wanted. I just thought about this," and it was a rock, you know, but it was a certain kind. And she goes, "This is the only one I didn't have, and now I have it." Oh, wow. How did you know? And I was like, the universe knew. I didn't know. You put it out there. So we're manifesting faster and faster right now. And I think too, when you were talking about the brain, so you know how back in World War II, I think it was, they recruited a lot of Native Americans to go. No, it was Vietnam. A lot of Native Americans to go in and track. Well, they made them cut their hair off. So then they couldn't do their tracking. And it's like, we forget sometimes that our hair is like a receiver, our brain is a receiver, And then it's also the analytical part of us, but our heart is really the thing that makes the decision. And if we bypass the heart, then everything is cold.
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, what about people with short hair? Would they?
I think they get used to it, but the people that, because there's a lot of people with short hair that are very amazingly intuitive, but in that culture, that was what they used. Like they knew that their hair was really important. So just like, is it David and Goliath or something where somebody cut their hair off?
Yeah, I know which one. Samson.
Oh, Samson.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting, honey, is what's come up, another conversation, all these serendipities. I was talking to somebody about supplements, and she's saying, oh, you should try this supplement. And I'm going, yeah, but it's really expensive. And usually with me, with a supplement, I only need to take 2 or 3 of them. My body says, got that now. And I don't need any more because I just download the frequency of the supplement. I think when you have an energetic organization of being psychic, some part of you expands that muscle. And so you can have energetic long hair, even if you don't have the hair. Maybe the, American Indians didn't know how to think that way. I think the way we think is expanding, the way we dream is expanding. What I was going to say to you, Anina, was I recently did a online group healing session. I do them every month. I have between 50 and 70 people, but I have a Telegram group for everybody to share their process. How do you feel afterwards? All of this. And one in particular was very much about telepathy. And I said, come down to the group and tell us if you get a text from someone while you were thinking of them, if on all of these serendipities. And there's so many of them. My cat was missing. I was upset. So I just sat down and imagined that I traveled through the village and to find my cat. And I said, please come home. I miss you very much. And then within an hour, the cat shows up at the back door, all this kind of communication that we can do. I think it comes through the heart. And I think it comes from our ability to believe that we are doing this. Does that make sense? It's like you can talk to your cat. You can look at your cat and your cat tells you stuff. You can, read your animals' minds. Cats are much more interesting than dogs. They have more to say. They have more to say. But I think it's not, because you had said maybe it's just me, but it isn't, because we are all each other, and we're sitting in someone's energy field. We're doing all that communication with them. When you're connected to someone, it's like the wire between you and them, and you're shooting that message along that wire, no matter where they are in the world, and it comes back to them and it comes back to you. And who thinks of each other first? I always wonder that, are you thinking about them because they thought about you first? So we don't know. And that's part of the fun. That's part of the fun.
It's kind of both are reaching into the quantum field, and if those little strings, kind of meet each other halfway, then you make that connection. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you can add in time on top of that and say everything's already happened already anyway. So it makes it much more complicated.
Yeah, it does. Time is circular. You get to the point where you just say in a conversation, like you can't really explain something. So you just say, I'm going to hand you this idea. And you send it to them instead. And then they know. And that's only been happening just a little bit for me so far, but it's beginning. And I love it. Like, it's a beautiful way to communicate because you don't have to say anything.
That's the next level for us. So if we can start practicing that now already, it's like a muscle, I'm sure. The more we practice it, the more we can become skilled.
Well, I think we've been doing it this whole time and just not had words for it. I mean, this was several years ago, before I was, let's say, my spiritual muscles were only just beginning to flex. I was very frustrated with my husband, and I had a big conversation with him by the swimming pool while he was inside watching TV with the kids. And I just let it all out. What I didn't know I was doing was talking to his higher self. I didn't realize that's what was going on. And then he had a very restless sleep. He woke up the next day and he said, I had a dream that you were talking to me by the swimming pool and you said this and this and this and this and this. And he said it to me in the exact words that I had used the night before.
Wow.
And he said, I hear you, I understand, and this seems important and we'll take it on board. You know, so I've been using this with clients. You're having difficulty with your partner, you can't meet in the middle, your personality, his personality, you're getting in the way, talk to the higher self. And then something really beautiful came up in one of my clients yesterday, where they had a meditation that I offer, which is pick a beautiful place in nature, in your heart, go there. There's a bench. You sit down on the bench and you wait, and someone you love will come and sit beside you and you have a conversation. She said her father showed up and he's been dead now for 2 years. And just the contact with him made her cry. So she said, I was crying. I thought I failed. And I said, no, you were crying because it was really him. And you'll do it again and you won't get so emotional, and you'll do it again, and maybe the third or the fourth time you'll be able to have that conversation. But just knowing you can do that anytime you want can change everything for somebody.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. And also people starting to work together. It was so fascinating. My husband came to me this morning, I think yesterday morning. He said, I had a profound dream. I won't go into the detail now because it's got to do with a family member having a baby. But he said, I had this profound dream. I saw my mother that passed, and instantly I just had a download. Oh, this is what it means. I was like, I don't know where that came from, but I just know this is what it means. You know, I had this download that the mother that's passed is coming back. She's decided to come back in. But it was so, yeah, so it's a lot of fun when these things, synchronicities and intuition start happening, and you learn you can kind of play with it and, you know, work with it and
something as
flex your
solid as
muscle.
that, just to say, and you know, something as solid as that is one of his guides telling you what it was, because they know that you are open to hearing where he might not be open. So they told you the information, and that's why it felt so certain to you. It's interesting.
Yeah, because he was like, well, I don't know about that. And I was like, no, this is what it means. I just know it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. Yeah.
I mean, we're
Exciting
surrounded by other
time.
beings. We just can't see them with our eyes.
We are. Yeah. And the nature of the universe has changed. Oh, sorry, Anina. Yeah. So
no, go for it, honey.
So the nature of the universe has changed, and we saw it, they took it down, which I thought was really interesting. But we saw it when the Schumann resonance changed, and all of a sudden it became like a pattern. So we have this, the universe has changed and the veil has been gone for a while. So now I feel like that change is bringing in more and more of the gifts that have been kind of paused for a while. So, you know, we're all getting more intuitive as we go.
Yeah. I mean, incredible codes that just came down right in that moment, right? That was on the 18th of June. Then we had the solstice on the 21st. That was just a very powerful couple of days. I think we've just a lot activated within us. And I heard somebody say that was interesting. Those codes are actually, I don't know, they analyzed them. I think it was Ileana, the Star Traveler, if I'm not mistaken. She analyzed it, and or no, it was actually somebody else. And it was some atom that was actually, she reckoned, and I'd like to get your input on this, the Christ atom. So that crystalline atom now is downloading into our DNA, and our bodies are now busy upgrading from this carbon-based structure to a more crystalline structure, which we kind of know, but I mean, then when she mentioned that, it just really kind of, wow, just rings true. It's exciting.
It is.
Yeah, that's been happening for a while, hasn't it, honey?
It has. It's been downloaded. I don't think we've totally allowed it to connect. Not all of us have. Like some of us have been moving into the crystalline body structure, even though, but some of us have had the like blueprint, but not been really allowing it to start to do its work as much. And now I think that that's changing. Like
Well, I'm hearing as we're talking that the only thing in the way of this is our own fear. And everybody has different levels of fear around different things. You know, it's that whole thing. Well, what if the spaceship comes down from the sky and all the ETs come out to say hello and it's happening in real life? And everyone's like, oh my God, I'd be too scared for that. So this is the type of fear that we need to rest easy. And I think, you know, as I'm saying this, what I'm seeing is all of these stories on Telegram, on the news, on the alternative media and everything that's made to amplify the fear, which is going to distract us from what we need to be doing, which is eliminating this fear, the fear of being powerful, the fear of being seen, the fear of knowing unequivocally who you are, what your gifts are, what you're passionate about. And we're about to step through that doorway and walk over that threshold. But, you know, and for some of us, it's open and it's there and we're in and out and in and out and in and out. Oh, it's so good in here. It's too good in here. I can't cope. It's too much. I have to come back and, you know, eat a chocolate cake and watch crap TV, which is what I've been doing. You know, it's like, buy an air fryer. How many toasties can you eat in a night? It's like, I know I'm going to shed this. It's just the feeling of worthiness. Do I deserve to be in here? Can it feel so good here in this life? The questions I've started to ask, well, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Because we're breaking that paradigm of survival. We're breaking the paradigm. And I loved what you were saying in your video that you did about Anastasia with Mark, about how you learn quicker when you're playing and how we need to break out of the paradigm that we have to suffer in order to learn. You know, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
If we believe it can be easy, it will be easy to learn new information. It's
yeah,
not
then
about
people are like, it's too easy.
value.
Did I do it properly? I need to do it again anyway, just to check. Did I really do that? You know, so.
And in the end, we're just remembering it. Like we already knew it. The one thing that has been hitting me a lot lately is the body and how important it is to care for the body. And then as we care for the body, it's going to become more and more crystalline. And just asking it what it wants, like what does our body want versus what do we want, you know? And maybe it wants chocolate cake, you know? Maybe the body's really ready for chocolate cake, you know, or cookies or whatever. And maybe it says, I don't want to have corn. Like that's one thing that my body has been saying absolutely no to. So I do my absolute best to try and avoid it because it really doesn't work well. But that's the biggest thing that my body's asked me to avoid is corn. So, and that's not going to be the same for everybody. It's going to be different.
I mean, how we treat our bodies is really a reflection of how we feel about ourselves. And how we feel about ourselves then reflects itself into every other relationship that we have with anybody else and with the world. And that goes right back to what we were talking about in the beginning, which is this purge that has to happen. You need to pull out all the bookshelves and get right down to the corners where the horrible crud and the dead insects and clean everything out, because even if you can't see it, doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah.
You know, and what was really interesting was people are so afraid to do that work. People label it and point at it and scream at it. It doesn't go away. It's still there. Yes, you live in a dirty house.
You can't ignore it.
You know, you know.
I also feel like we're holding a lot of cellular memory. You know, a lot of it is even like ancestral memories that we don't even know we have. So, you know, it's a lot of deep-rooted stuff that sits in the body. And honey, I loved what you said. What really resonated with me was that your body has its own consciousness. There's your soul, your higher self, but the body itself also has consciousness. It's like the two need to integrate together. But that body is also holding that ancestral DNA and the stuff that was passed along from, you know, great grandparents and, you know, who suffered great trauma, and you're holding that in yourselves without even knowing. You know, maybe, you know, it could be
There's
past
even more
lives,
than
but
that, Anina. It's really interesting because when you were a child and you were around people that weren't your family, you still picked up their energy too. So it's not just the ancestral, and it's not just the lineage, and it's not just the DNA. I mean, I was going through my body as I had a massage there a couple of weeks ago, and I was following her hands on me as she worked her way up my legs, thinking, okay, anything in my legs that is ready to go, please go. And then I got a sense of my Nana, who is not my family, who would come in and child mind me when I was little, and some anger and frustration that she was feeling that I must have absorbed from her, that was still in my leg. You know, so we're like sponges. We pick up everything from everybody, everywhere we've been. And yes, you hear, okay, but what about cellular renewal? Every 7 years, you have completely new cells in your body. It's recycling it. So now we have an
Passing that little
opportunity.
message on before the next one comes in. Hey,
yes, to get the clear one, to say, okay, well, the next cell that comes in, can that be the crystalline one? And maybe that's how we replace all our cells, with that. It might be a longer process as we replace the cells and say, okay, we have the crystalline cell, as I call it, coming in.
Yeah.
And we've cleared all the pain and the grief from the old one, and let's bring in all the new ones and be in alignment with this Christ energy. So
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Very exciting.
The body just is basically the one who sounds the alarm, you know, for the energy field. So if you think about it, like the body is the messenger to tell you, ooh, I have pain here, or I have this here. And if we don't do some kind of help for the body to release as well as the soul to release, or the subconscious, then we're not finishing. So it is really important to work with both. So to do that massage, and to also do the emotional work that needs to be done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We spoke briefly before the call about other things that we've noticed going on in the world, just to kind of switch topics a little bit. Honey, you said you've come across some exciting new things. Maybe you want to share with the audience.
Yeah. So Fox News announced that the flying cars are in the works, and they're now taking orders to, you know, for your own flying car. Now they're pretty expensive. I think they're 300,000 right now, but that's how everything starts. It's always more expensive at the beginning. And I didn't get that we would have flying cars until, you know, for a few years. I'm not going to say when at this point anymore, because everything's changing. But these flying cars will be our transportation in the future. And they've already introduced the cars that run on water. So those came out recently, and they're for sale now. So, or at least they're on the way to be for sale. Well, the flying cars are still in process of, you know, being manufactured. But I think that kind of stuff in the quantum system has been running in the background, and you can now find that online. And I just shared that on Telegram, how to do that. It's just a beautiful thing that's starting to happen. The things that we've been waiting for are beginning to show up. So just keep holding space for those to show up and be in our reality. You know, it's fun.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have become frustrated because there's been so many dates. Oh, this is when, you know, things are going to go down, and the quantum financial system will be introduced, and none of that has kind of come to pass. But yeah, I think we just need to understand it's all a lot more complex, how this thing is going to roll out than we know. I've also heard from various very reliable sources that yes, the quantum financial system is running in the background. You know, whatever it's waiting for before that switchover happens, but there's a lot of things, dominoes, that need to fall in place as well, because I believe the GCR, the currency revaluation, will happen at the same time. You know, there's so many things that's set to happen at the same time. So people just need to hang in there and actually use this time as a gift. Use this time to get ready for this new golden era. You know, work on yourself and just go within. People are so scared to go within. Some people say, I can't meditate, I can't do it. I just you know, they just intellectually understand the information, but in their bodies they can't.
Well, I think what's happening is that they've been magnetized out of their bodies by, again, damsel in distress syndrome, or that, you know, somebody's going to rescue you and you just have to wait. And just as urgency and desperation pushes something further away from you when you're trying to manifest it, waiting also does that. Waiting puts in an expectation that you get attached to, and that attachment makes everything rigid and solid, and there's no flow. So when you come back to what I said earlier about how it's our fear that's in the way of everything, this is all part of it. You know, to sit for a moment, anyone who's watching this who can resonate with this and say, okay, where's my energy gone? What have I invested it in that's outside of my remit, that's not my energy field? Okay, you could argue everything's your energy field, but let's for the moment say that people are defined and separate from each other, that you pull your expectation out, you pull the energy out of someone else doing it for you, you bring all these pieces back into you, and then you have the strength that you need to do your inner work, because inner work takes work. And if you don't have the strength, the stamina, the wherewithal to go looking for what it is you have to do, and you don't even have to go looking, it'll just be shown to you. Like your bookshelf's just going to fall down in the middle of the night because you're ready for it. You can deal with it. So you say, okay, I'm ready now. I'll do my work and everything else will take care of itself. Because what's beautiful about these times is that we've all met each other, and that we know there's more people that we haven't met yet, but we're not alone anymore. We're not feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm going crazy. Everyone around me is thinking in a different way than me. We've reached out, we've formed these networks, they've lit up. People can join one and find other people in others, you know, like the way Honey and I found each other, the way you and I found each other, you know, we're finding each other. And even though we're all around different places in the world, we can still connect in. So we can go, okay, back to the idea of the light worker relay race, which I've spoken about before, which is today I'm tired, you can hold the baton and do that. And then tomorrow I'll have more energy and I'll do it. And you have a day off. And we don't have to save the world on our own anymore. There's plenty of people out there fighting every fight that needs to be fought. So we can take a breather, do an audit. What do I need to do? Maybe if we made reducing our own personal fear as important as anything else that's going on, then people would see that they do need to make the time for that. And that's something that everybody can do. What do you think, Honey? What's your reading on that one?
Yeah, it's massive. So what I used to do was called the death of ego. And it was like this course that I would do with people, and it lasted for 6 weeks. And it was one-on-one. And basically we would dig in and find where all the fears started. So if you can find the root of your fear, and even just ask for the root to be disconnected, then your fear will start to dissipate. Even if you can't look at it, ask for it to be disconnected, finding the roots. And that's going to change your whole life. Like, it's a completely different perspective. Now, some people let those fears get reestablished too. So you have to continue to take care of yourself, you know, throughout this process. But I don't really think fear is going to be a big thing after we get done with the transition. But right now it's a big thing because it's part of the purge.
You know, what's interesting is at the moment, I'm looking at my contract, my personal contract with physical pain, and saying I don't need to be in pain anymore. So what was the deal here? What did I contract? That pain would teach me all these things. Well, I don't want to be taught that way anymore. So I'm canceling my contract with pain. And now my body is coming into recovery. And I'm thinking we could do that with fear.
Yeah.
That we could look at our contract that we've made as a collective, but also as an individual. What's the deal? What's the you know, what do I get and what do I give with fear? And how can we sign on the dotted line to say, I finished with this now, I don't need this anymore. So that's just something that's just come in. So it might be interesting to have a play with that and see, because I think doing it lightly is really important. You don't want to get
It
heavy in it.
is. Yeah. It's time to step into joy and not take it all so seriously. Really is true.
I also feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I also feel like sometimes fear can almost be like an entity attachment that attaches to you. It's not even yours. Like
Yeah.
I used to be like so worried and fearful when I was running a big company, lots of staff, lots of, things, lots of clients, lots of stress. And then one day I was just like, but why am I worried all the time? Why am I always fearful? Why do I wake up at 4 in the night and I'm just so fearful? Like I go to the bathroom, as I go over that threshold of the bathroom, it's like this fear. And I just realized, you know what? I can just say, thank you, but no thank you. I do not consent anymore. I'm letting you go. And I've kind of systematically learned just to not allow it anymore. Like as soon as it comes through, I'm just like, not today, not me, go somewhere else. And I learned that you can actually control it like this and just, trust the flow. You don't have to buy into the fear, and fear attaches to you and it just grows, if you
If you
allow
have
it.
a weakness in your energy field, like a crack, that's where it comes in. So always working on, well, I think energy work is really vital. It forms the basis of everything else that you do. And if you check the integrity of your own energy field, you could imagine you're sitting inside an egg. This is what I get people to do, that you're sitting inside an egg and maybe tap, 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 tap. The egg is slightly cracked, but you're looking at it from the inside. So with your hand, you can smooth it over and say, okay, I've been damaged. I'm going to heal it. Call those pieces of power back. So that at nighttime, when you're feeling that weakness opening and the fear is just outside, you can say, no, I'm going to put the energy into being strong. And I'm not interested in engaging with the fear. So again, it's a dance that we change the steps and it changes everything. So.
And it feels like it's out of your control. Like you're just swimming in the sea of fear. It's like you can't control it. And then when you learn you can control it, it's like, oh my gosh, but I actually control my reality. I decide what I give energy and what I allow. I'm that powerful,
That's really the only,
so
that's your life
that
mastery.
just changes the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Just take a deep breath when you drop into fear. Re-engage, because most of the brain quits working too. So, and that's part of getting ready to run, like physically run. Lots of systems shut down.
Fight or flight.
Yeah. So get out of fight or flight, and then you can think clearly again. And you can feel your heart again.
We've been so conditioned into this fight or flight. And often I feel like that's where all the separation begins, because people actually get fearful of, or they get defensive. And that's when that division begins, because you're only trying to defend that fragile, child within. And we've just been conditioned over centuries to protect ourselves in this way. And that's the root of division. And once you let go of that, and you realize everyone is just another wounded child, and if you see that person as a wounded child, you can have more compassion for them, and it's changes the game.
But and also having that childlike mentality, and then having your government is your daddy and telling you what to do. The mentality, the conditioning is, well, I'm moving out and I'm going to be the adult in my life and I'm going to decide what I want to do. And, so when I think a certain percentage of people are at that stage of realization where, well, you do whatever you want to do over there and I'm going to go over here and live my life my way, then it's going to tear the fabric of society apart. And we're seeing that happening, which is really wonderful. And yes, there's going to be a mess and devastation and damage, but it's a growing up process. It has to happen.
Yeah.
I really feel like we are the teenagers in the galaxy right now. It's time to grow up now. It's time to
say what the best reality show in the universe.
Absolutely. We're just like the teenagers now. Okay, growing up now, getting ready to get out of the house, you have to be self-responsible. And once you do that, you can't call daddy every 5 minutes and say, please come and save me, or, you know, blame someone else. Just take responsibility for your own life. You know, that's where sovereignty and, you know, not relying on the government or anyone else to help you out or to save you, or it's also about blame. You know, stop blaming other people. It's like, yes, we made mistakes and they took advantage of us. Now's the time to just move on and take action. Stop blaming, because then you can't step into sovereignty.
Yeah, taking responsibility, very big part of growing up.
Huge.
Owning your mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Owning your own power.
I often wonder. I often wonder if all this galactic help that we're getting, I mean, people do say that it's our future selves coming through to assist and helping this process. And I'm trying to figure out, so why would we come from the future to the past? Well, we kind of know there isn't really past or future, to help this process when it's already kind of been written in the stars. It's already technically made Ascension. So our future selves are coming back to make sure it happens smoothly. Why is it necessary for them to come and help us? Honey, maybe this is one for you.
Yeah, I have an idea about why that is. So if you think about the human body, it's made up of lots of different ET DNA, right? And the human body is the very last kind of ET type body that has not ascended into the crystalline or the Christ consciousness. So it's still been carbon based, where most ETs are not carbon based, they're crystalline based, or some other kind of base too. I think there are other kinds of ETs that are not crystalline, but we're like the last ones. We're the ones who've been put into slavery that need to come into sovereignty. And it affects us, but it affects everyone because we're all one. So everybody's here concentrated on bringing humanity, this human consciousness, into the crystalline and the Christ consciousness. That's how I see it.
So maybe it's then a case of there's actually, when we say that futures already happened, it's all those like millions of timelines. So it's all those very many different potential outcomes. So now it's like our future selves coming back to make sure we collapse this positive timeline of ascension.
Well,
so there is still
maybe another theory on that. Because you know how the multiverse has come into the consciousness now. So let's just say that this universe that we're in is the one where the future selves came back to help the past selves. And this is the one that we're living in. And maybe all the other ones didn't make it because they didn't do that. Or maybe there was no future selves because they didn't come back. You're looking at these time loops that we've been trained to understand through movies and things like Doctor Who, which I believe are teaching tools to expand your brain to the possibilities of what could be. And I think these multiverse movies are just starting to tip into the idea of bringing all of that in, because that started to come in. I'd say it's probably been here a long time before it filters through to the collective. But I've just been watching the latest series of Black Mirror, which has a lot of interesting ideas threaded through it. It's kind of like a temperature, take the temperature on where people are with these things, or looking at some of the science fiction ideas, what's coming through there. I like to dip into some movies when they're not horror, because horror is just horror for the sake of it. But some of these really innovative ideas, like flying cars, have been in these movies for a long time. So we're seeing the AI, the robots coming in. And I just watched a very interesting video about this guy that they believe the Raiders of the Lost Ark movies was based on, that he actually did find these things in real life. And, all of these movies being like a little bit of truth, but a lot of distraction, and you have to take out the bits and pieces. But my sense is the closest one would be, I don't know, did anyone watch Battlestar Galactica? all the way through to the end, because it's a circle. And to me, it just made me cry because it felt true. So the future selves come back to help because we need to close that circle. And that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah,
That's
we
interesting.
do. Another thing too, you could see it as, so a while ago we were moving from a learning universe to a being universe. And if you think about it, it's like we're moving into that, and some of the parallels and multiverse, part of those universes are moving into that. And as they do, it's going to be a flow. So not everybody will get in there at the same time. It's going to be like we're all in a circle, going around a circle in a line, and then eventually everybody will get through it. Because when I tuned into it, it was going to take a while. Like we're at the beginning of it. And it's going to take a while for everybody to get through that process of going from learning to actually being. So,
yeah, some of them might need to come back and do more lifetimes in order to get through that, depending on the level of fear and the weight of the jealousy and the shame and the guilt and all of that they're carrying, that extending the waiting time for these things to come true to the lower frequency holding you back, which is what you were saying before we started recording about there seems to be more of a division between people, but it's just that you can relate so much quicker to people who are of your frequency. And by doing that, you're raising everybody's frequency because like, oh my God, it's you. And oh my God, it's you. And everybody's jumping up even higher and activating each other. And that's accelerating everybody's growth. And that's why there seems to be more of a shift away, because, 20 years ago, you'd never have met people who were at your same frequency. You're just going along and thinking, this is my life and I don't belong here. And there's nobody who understands me. And there's nobody who I want to be around. And now suddenly everybody is just like, oh my God, it's you. Oh my God, it's you. So,
yeah, it's so true.
Profound conversations with people and thinking, nobody's watching TV. Nobody's talking about what happened in the soap opera last night. Nobody's talking, we're all talking about stuff that is really important to us. And I think it's wonderful. It's the kind of world I want to live in. So I think we're creating it as we go as well. It's like the dreamer creates and manifests, creating and manifesting at the same time. So we're kind of doing that too.
And I think the people that don't resonate or vibrate that high, those are the people that are feeling it. That's why I spoke about the division earlier. So because they're almost offended by the high vibration in a way. So it's they triggering. Go even lower because of that contrast. Yeah, it's triggering them.
Yeah. So if you think, like, you can go all the way back to Dolores Cannon's idea of splitting Earth, and that's a very small, like, illustration of parallel universes and multiverse and all of that stuff is the split. And we're going to see it on all levels. All parallel universes will have some sort of split. All parts of the multiverse will have a split because people need to decide where they're going to be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm just finding it very difficult to be in the company of people that don't grasp this. I find it so crushing to be honest. Even if you have to, you have to be with family and you're just like, I'm not interested in any of the stuff you guys are talking about. It's painful.
It doesn't matter if you're interested in what they're talking about or not. If there's love there, then that's the platform.
I've learned just to keep quiet, just to be there and to connect with them without necessarily having a profound conversation.
Yeah. We do get used to our profound conversations and we love them.
Yeah, but we know that
we don't have to do them all the time.
It's not that you're never going to have them. These are my family and I love them dearly for who they are. And, I don't want to make them into someone that they're not, because I want to make them into someone that they're not. It's me, it's my stuff. So I'll be with them. And if you can't tolerate it, if there's anger or aggression or difficulty in communication, and you've tried and you've worked through it, there's no rule that says you have to stay. People have problem with that. You know, it's like you have to love everybody unconditionally. I said you can love people unconditionally from over there. You know, you don't have to be in their same room with them because you have this obligation. I think, you know what, we're coming out of a phase of betrayal, and possibly, in my sense, is we're going into a phase of commitment and creation. What do we want to commit to? What do we want to create? And you don't have to commit to being in a relationship with somebody that makes you feel ill, or somebody that treats you badly, but it doesn't mean you don't love them. You can say, I love you from over there.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you ever need me, you can call me and I'll be there for you.
Exactly. I just, I always just have an urge to red pill people. In my own family, I will just drop these little red pills and they'll just look at me like, what's wrong with her?
Well, have your conversations with them, with their higher selves, like I was saying about them. You know, you close your eyes,
that's
go
a
on the
good
bench,
idea.
you meet them there and you say, this is who I am, and I'm not going to change who I am because I make you uncomfortable. And if you have a problem with that, then it's not my problem, it's your problem. And I want to be around you, and, you know, have the conversation, but know that there's no point getting angry in those conversations. You're speaking to higher self, so it is just love. And they might say, but Anina, your soul is just so old and you're just so mature and you have so much more, and we're still doing this. We're only 200 years old and you're 2000 years old. And how do you do this? And maybe there's teaching that you can give them at that level that would help.
Yeah. Yeah. You always also realize some people, you know, a family member may just not be ready for all this. They just want to have fun, live a happy life. Maybe they had some suffering in a previous life and this is what they need right now. So they don't want all that information, or, you know, they don't want to make all those changes. They just want a happy life. That's all they want. And you can't, that's their choice, you know.
Yeah. So then you have to look at, well, why am I not okay with that? And realize that it's about you.
Right. Yeah.
Which is hard. It's hard, but, you know, and there's usually disappointment, there's grieving, there's a loss of the relationship that you thought you did have, realizing that this isn't what it is, you know. And sometimes, like the love heart, which is what I always show to people, you go apart, then you come together. You know, if the love is there, you will come together at some level, but you will also not always be glued to each other either. So
yeah, it's all a learning process. You know, sometimes you realize also maybe it's just your ego wanting to be right, or wanting to be justified that what you said last week that they thought was crazy actually is happening. And then you realize, but that's not important. You know, it's your ego is you don't want to take that with you. You know, you want to leave that behind. It doesn't matter whether you are vindicated because you said XYZ was going to happen and now it's happening. It doesn't actually matter, you know.
You know, it's all, again, where are you investing your power? Are you investing it in needing to be right? Are you investing it in clearing out your inner wounding and doing your work? Are you investing it in what you'd like to see in the future around you and creating that? Where's the most valuable use of your time? Because money's going to come and go. And even though we don't really know what time is, I think we know what being in the present moment is. We know what today is. And what are you going to do with your today becomes much more important than anything else.
Yeah,
it is.
It's the only thing we have right now is the right now moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you let go of the need to be right and you open up that little crack that opens you to learning new things, opens you to growth. I mean, that's something I've learned as well, that if you allow that wanting to be right to take a back seat, you're actually opening out yourself up to bigger growth.
Yeah. It's like loving yourself through it, and also knowing that you can love yourself even if somebody else doesn't love what you're giving out, you know, that you don't need their approval. You love yourself anyway.
Absolutely. Very
Mhm.
important. So what do you guys see for the next 3 months? We have to give people a little bit of a preview or a feeling or a pulse check what you guys see happening in the next 3 months, what people can expect. Honey, what do you think?
I just think there's going to be a lot of changes over the next 3 months, and just to lean into them and enjoy it as it goes forward, whether it looks yucky or it looks good. Your attitude about it is the most important thing, because we're actually the ones manifesting it. So enjoy it as it unfolds is what I would say, because the more you enjoy it, the faster it unfolds.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Abby, what do you think?
When you asked me for the next 3 months, I didn't even know what month it was. Where am I? And I said, well, if I name the months in my head, maybe I can ground into, connect into what I'm feeling. And it's like the end of a level on a computer game and the beginning of the next level, where you've run out of ammunition and there's more bad guys coming, and you're just going to have to, they make it harder so that you get through the level. And I'm thinking, but maybe you don't have to fight anything. Maybe you could just say, I see you, and I'm not going to engage with this. And I'm just going to sit here and be and ask God, what am I supposed to do now? What would you have me do? Where would you have me go? And just move from your intuition. Remember that you love your family, even though they drive you crazy. And knowing that we're not here to be monks on the top of a mountain to pray. We're here to bring the light into the darker places. And so, I went to a concert, there was 4,000 or 5,000 people there, and I just opened out in the concert. Now, normally people will go, oh my God, they're going to take your energy. And I go, no, I'm going to heal everyone in the room just because I fucking feel like it, even if they didn't ask me to, and that was fun to just make the most of every moment and say, this is my best life now. And how can I make it better? And start putting those changes in place and cleaning the corners of the back of the room to get rid of all the dead bugs and all the dust, and sit in silence and enjoy watching the flowers opening. And I think when you have an appreciation for every moment, then it doesn't matter what's going on. You do your best and every time, and you've lived your wholehearted life.
Yeah, exactly. I see
It's
that.
interesting, those phrases, where would you have me go and what would you have me do, I think are the most useful phrases to come from A Course in Miracles. I never read The Course in Miracles, never did it, but I've listened enough to Marianne Williamson to just saying, I'm going to use those phrases. They're cool. And I can ditch the rest of it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Just your communication with your own soul and your body. Really, that's the main thing right now. Grow your own consciousness, work on yourself during this period of time, and it will help the whole collective, but it really starts with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like getting ready to move house, remove all the clutter, clean out the cupboards. You can't take it all with you. Just clear the space,
And there's nothing to be afraid of, I think the most surprising thing is that you already know what's in all of those wardrobes and the basement and the attic. It's in there. And it's just your fears making it bigger or amplifying it, maybe particularly at nighttime. And say, so do it during the day.
Yeah.
Call your friend and say, I'm going to open the wardrobe in the basement. Will you come and stand here and hold my hand with me while I do it? And they'll say yes. Get someone in to help. Absolutely. You're laughing. It's
absolutely
true, isn't it?
It's true.
I know this is going to be difficult. I want you to come and do it with me. And everyone will say, absolutely. And then after we're finished with you, will you come and do it with me? And we'll do it together, because we're not alone. We're not on our own. We don't have to do it all ourselves.
No.
I love that.
True.
My laptop has not been charging. I'm not sure why, and it's going to die soon. I think there's a problem with the plug, because it's plugged in, but it's not charging. So I guess we can call this a day.
Okay, it's been lovely.
If you guys are okay with that.
Thank you. Yeah.
But I'd love to do another one. It was really lovely. Thank you so much.
And thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yeah.
And sending everybody light and love for this beautiful period ahead. It's an exciting time to be alive. I will put all the links for Abby and Honey in the description, and you will be able to find their YouTube channels and their website. So let's let's share the love and